So to start, because I don't want to forget that I want to bring this up. But okay, Friday Night Lights reunion in the middle of this movie.
Yes.
So happy. So I wanted to ask you, Adrianne, how was it not only like being back in Austin, but like getting to have those little moments where people like me are going to get really excited
Well, the
because it is.
is I actually live in Austin. So I pretty much moved during the show, like everybody. I mean, it's just the best city. So, and thankfully Austin and I have maintained a friendship throughout the years. So since we both live there.
Yeah.
And Brad Leland is in the movie.
Yep.
And a lot of the crew, we
Worked
all
on
know from
the
Friday Night
show.
Lights and other things shooting in Austin. So it was a big reunion, big fun,
It was
happy
awesome.
reunion.
I love it. And I also wanted to ask you, Austin, one of my favorite things, I went to Austin for the first time last year and then went back for South by, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of obsessed with how weird this city is. And I like that this movie keeps up the phrase, keep Austin weird in its own little way. How important was it for you to like show a piece of how strange and beautiful Austin can be in a comedy like this?
Well, I'm glad you think it's still weird because it feels less and less weird.
Uh-huh.
But so I'm
I
happy
think
to
it's
hear you
good.
say that and that people still come and kind of feel that character. But I never thought this would be my first movie. And I'm so happy that it is because it's my home. It's where I grew up. It's all of these places that I love. I mean, when we were looking for locations, I was able to go, well, what about this swimming hole? I used to go there as a kid, and we might be able to like it might be better for us and cheaper and all these concerns that happen when you're in pre-production. So I I never planned it, but the universe kind of pointed me in that direction, and I'm so happy it did because everything kind of came together and everybody had a blast and we turned out with something I
It
think
was
really.
so fun also like doing it with you because obviously having grown up there, I mean places that I've been there for almost 20 years and it's like I didn't even know about certain places that we
Yeah.
went for the movie. So it was like this really cool thing for me too to like find these little gems that
There's still maybe a couple secret spots.
yes, a couple secret places that now I feel honored to know about.
Yeah.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, Adrian, because I love, I love when you get to do comedy because I love the Orville. I love those kind of things. I also love you as a superhero, but this, you got to be kind of the straight man in a movie of crazy men. And so how was it getting to play that side of the comedy spectrum, especially to whatever Ryan Hansen is ever doing in a project?
Well, it was weird. Like having watched it, I was like, actually, Sam's pretty freaking funny by just being the straight man because
Yeah.
she's the audience, right? So she's watching these people going, "What the heck is happening?" And I mean, it was hard to keep a straight face. Honestly, that was probably the hardest thing about the whole thing, especially with all the improvs and things that were going on.
Well, also, I want to like pay a compliment to Adrianne because it's sometimes comedy can be very competitive, and you'll see actors start to kind of like, okay, I want to jump in with a joke or I want to jump in with an
Mhm.
improv. And her role is so important that she needs to stay where she is and be Sam and be in opposition to them in the beginning of the movie. And yes, she's funny and she's great and she has all these funny moments, but I also need her to be grounded and not be jumping in with everybody else of that stuff. So she played it perfectly. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Oh, thank you.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to ask both of you, what is it about golf courses that we're like, let's just do comedies on a golf course? Because it's like, has there been a some kind of comedy about golf? They all seem to just be comedies or rom-coms.
Well, there's actually a campaign. There was a campaign in Austin to save Muni.
Yeah.
Like you go to Deep Eddy and it's all
Yeah.
over, which
Hmm.
kind of inspired the
There
film.
is a course where University of Texas owns the land and
Hmm.
they leased it to the city to have a municipal golf course for like 100 years. And I don't know if the lease ran out or if it's about to or whatever, but it's become this beloved institutional public golf course that people love and don't want to go away. And, we didn't make that story, but we were kind of inspired by them. And I grew up, that was where I first learned to play. But I think golf is inherently funny. It has funny clothes and funny words and funny sticks, and you hit a ball, and it's like the most ridiculous, funny game, but billions of people love it.
It's true.
That you're not incorrect. But I wanted to ask you is like, I love that this movie has like the weird tradition of like every year they have that tournament where, and I feel like that is kind of common where wherever you're from, there's some weird thing that you're like, yeah, that's kind of my hometown did this weird thing. Obviously, this is based in Austin, but do you guys have that like one weird hometown
Oh my
like
God.
thing that always happened that you're like, yeah, it's weird for us, but
So there is a golf tournament that I think was part of the inspiration, but actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of Eeyore's birthday party in Austin. Every year, we have Eeyore's birthday from,
like the donkey,
yeah, the donkey
Mhm.
from, what's it called?
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
So we celebrate Eeyore's birthday, and it's the coolest party, and everybody dresses up ridiculous, and there's some medieval people, some LARPers, kind of like our movie, and it's very free and very weird and very wild. And we kind of were inspired by Eeyore's birthday.
And it really does keep the tradition of keeping Austin weird alive. Like the
Yeah.
fact that it still exists.
Yes. Well, also, I think it went away for a few years, and then Austinites got really sad because they're like, well, Austin's changing, and it came back. We brought it back.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that you guys picked Eeyore. It was just like of all the you're like, I'm giving it to Eeyore this time because he gets nothing.
So sad.
He's
He's
so
just
sad.
sad.
And he's also like a stoner hero. You know,
Yeah.
he's like this very chill, like Zen figure in pop culture.
That is true. My niece loves Winnie the Pooh, and she always used to be like, when she was really little, she'd be like, "Okay, and I'll take Eeyore out of my bed." I was like, "You won't even sleep with all of the Winnie the Pooh. Like Eeyore is the one that gets outed. Like he's not allowed in."
Aw,
So
sad.
that's I'm happy for Eeyore that he has a birthday celebration. I do want to ask with this movie, there are so many kind of outlandish moments that ended up really just kind of making me laugh out loud. Do you guys have a favorite moment or sequence that ended up in the final cut that you were just like, yes, it did it. This is what we wanted?
I mean, it's really hard for me because it feels like the whole thing is my child, but I love the scene with Sir James where you use the British accent and he doesn't pay attention.
And that
then-
was your idea on the day. It wasn't even like written in the script. He's just like, what if you use an English accent?
And Joe Hersley, I mean, Annie and Ryan played it so well, but Joe Hersley, that was his first scene, and he's an old friend of mine. And I didn't really know what he was going to do. And he just took that character to another level because
Oh my
a
God.
lot of people would have kind of like gone for the joke. He was so real and in it, and it just made it soar.
And the hair
Oh,
was
yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
But yes, no, I honestly, the hardest thing for me keeping a straight face was probably the interviews
Yeah.
with all the like random improv and
yeah,
things like that, trying to keep that going.
Yeah.
So
I actually miss DVD special features because we used to have all these, be able to see all the outtakes and stuff.
Mhm.
I rolled on Bill Wise for 11 and a half minutes with you. And I watched the dailies and I was like, wow, I can't believe I rolled for almost 12 minutes. And you had to be on the other side of it
Yes.
for not on camera
No.
for 12 minutes. And you were a sport.
Well, it was
But-
highly entertaining.
But he gave a lot of funny stuff that will never be seen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Adrianne, I have a question for you as a tattoo girly myself.
I love it.
I loved that your tattoos were in this because I was just like, she does not seem like the type to have tattoos, but then you just were rocking yours. Do you come up with like reasons why your characters would have tattoos because of your own, or are you just like, I have them and they're just gonna have them?
The thing was, so like during Friday Night Lights, continuity was not an issue for the show. 'Cause, it was a lot of handheld and like just pulling from things. And my character would have tattoos. So, I mean, I would like per episode get like a new tattoo, which kind of bit me in the ass after the show because I'm like, oh, I have to sit in hair and makeup for how long now? But it was true, like, we live in the day and age now, and Austin was really behind it. Like, most people have tattoos. So even though she's a little bit of a type A, it's like she would probably still.
I remember we talked about it once and we were kind of like, even though she comes into this world as being outside of it and not fitting in, we kind of felt like maybe this was
A part of her life,
buried
her
and
story.
kind of who she was, but she kind of had to cover it up because of her
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yes, exactly.
And
Like
it
her
felt-
crazy college years,
Yes.
Mhm.
It felt really good that she would maybe like kind of re-find herself again,
Yes.
I love that. Well, and I mean, listen, you can be in the MCU and they CGI them out, I realized. So tattoos can just exist and they'll just CGI them off of you with the MCU.
Exactly.
For my last thing, I do want to ask. So during COVID, my mom and I watched all of Friday Night Lights. That was like, I got stuck at home and we were like, let's watch a show, and got so invested that we couldn't stop. And so I want to ask you guys, because I told Aldous Hodge about the reboot that they're working on. He had no idea. Is that something that you guys like hearing about when people love the show so much that they want it to come back? Or you like, we loved our perfect little show when it came out, we don't want people touching it again?
I think it was a perfect show, and I think it ended in the right way. I was a little disappointed to hear about that because it's the same thing with like, okay, there's never going to be a Connie and Kyle again. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like having the Sopranos come back without the cast, you're like, you can't really redo that show. I don't think you can redo Friday Night Lights. They'd have to have a whole different story, whole different place. I don't think it could be in Texas for it to ever work. And I just I get sad when people want to remake something that's great. Just make something new.
And also, like, look, the business is changing rapidly, and you feel there's so many reboots that I'm a part of one right now. And there's so many of them. And in a way, they're a blessing because we all want to work and we all want to do what we love to do. And things are in flux and it's happening. But yeah, there's times where you just go, leave it alone. That was so excellent.
Yeah.
And you don't want to touch it. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to
Now
walk that
listen, if
balance.
I were in the show, I would
They-
totally be excited about it.
If you're in the show, they will be like, actually, Landry needs to go to jail because he killed that guy, and then everything would be great. It'd
Exactly.
work out.
Exactly. I mean, Jesse.
Well, thank you guys so much. I loved this weird little comedy. I love when we allow comedies to be funny and just do their own little things. So thank you guys so much for talking with me, and I can't wait for everyone to get to see it.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for
Appreciate
your
it.
Guys, have a great one.